of DropZone Deciduous trees. I will go only through this new package and the new features that is added to this package compared to the conifer package. The tutorial video of DropZone conifers is the main tutorial. There I have gone through all the features and everything you need to know about materials and everything. So now I will only go through new features and quickly what this package includes. Okay, under the DropZone Deciduous trees folder, main folder, you have maps. You will find only one map, and basically these two maps are also the same. And I will go through how this differs from the map you will have, because I only released one version, because basically this is just the same package as you have. I have only made extra level, and I can show you how you can make that extra level if you want yourself, because this extra level is for improved performance in Unreal Engine version 5.3. Okay, I'm demoing here now this normal overview map, but let's go through that later, what I have done to increase the performance. Okay, so I have maps that we already went through. Then there are master materials and master material instances. They're here. These are the materials and these are the instances. And I suggest most of the modifying of trees or leaves, trunks is done via these master instances. Of course, there are differences between the species, and that's why they have to be adjusted tree by tree, or there are certain amount of material instances for trees, and you can individually make setups for different species. But many adjustments like the seasonal settings and color tints can be also done centralized from these master material instances. Okay, under that we have material functions. We have three material functions, and I have gone all this through in the first tutorial, so I will not go this through again. These are mostly and only for wind effects, and they are used in the master materials. Then we have material instances for trees. And here you can see that I have 7 leaf instances for maples. And maybe you ask why I have 7. Because I have 7 fall color settings. So I have for 20 trees I have used 7 different fall color settings. So when we add fall amount to these trees, you have a 7 different colors. Of course, you can also adjust amount of the fall, so you will get really nice fall feeling without every tree being the same. So that's why I have many. And trunks, of course, we are using a different parks, so that's why there are many of those. And same goes with northern red oak. Only there are also 7 leaf instances. I was just saying that there are only 10 red oaks. There are 20 maples and 20 oaks, but 10 red oaks. But I think that's that's a big amount, because you can make an unbelievable scenes using only 5 trees, but you have a 10 times that amount. So you can have different shaped trees. You can do whatever with these trees. These are amazing. Then I have these oak instances for making these trees, and here are also 7, because I have the 7 different fall setups or autumn Uh, Under the material instances, I have meshes. So like I said, 20 maples. Every single mesh is different and unique in every way. The shape is different, leaf amounts, the branch amounts, where the branch start, and the shape, everything is different. Also, like you saw, we are using many barks. Not every maple use the same bark. We had a trunk 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have six different barks for those maples. So about three of them uses the same. And there are many other differences in those. We can watch those shortly. Let's go through first is what this package includes. So Northern Red Oaks, 10 pieces, very nice variations. You can see them here. And Oaks, 20 pieces. You can see them here. Textures for box. Here you can see we are not just using few, we have many. Unreal is just lagging with these textures. I'm not showing properly, but there are many nice textures. Leaves, needles. I have also these twigs that use the plain meshes. They use the same material. Of course, they're not acting in the wind the same way. I have adjusted that. And what is the difference between the conifer package? I have now 7 different autumn or fall textures. These are used to create incredibly nice fall effects to these trees. And why there is a little bit gradient from transparent, almost transparent to color is because leaf twigs I didn't want to color as much. So that's why this is very intentionally made. To show you, so these are for making a fall effect. And if you're looking at this texture, this is for spring. And because spring effect is only making it a little bit of a lighter green and brighter and stuff like that, the only one texture is enough for making the effect for spring. Then I have also there's of course this diffuse and normal maps and the Berlin noise for giving some kind of variation if you want to use it. But I have also this kind of leaves reduction masks, and these are for making reducing leaves. It's very good effect for the fall when the leaves are dropping to the ground. It gives a very nice effect. Watch the demo video. There's a link in the marketplace. To the demo video, you can see that it really gives a better fall effect when you have reduced leaves. And also for the spring, because when the spring starts there are much less leaves and they are smaller, so reducing leaves also when you want to use the spring effect, it gives you very nice touch. We will go them through also here, but I have gone them through with that demo video that is placed in the Maui broadleaf forest environment. Just replaced the big trees and medium trees with my trees. That's about, these are textures, and then I have templates. And these are only templates for master material. And master material also wants that there are textures in the texture slots. So these are the templates. And you might see these textures in the master material instance, and you should do nothing to those textures. Just leave the template there. The textures are then adjusted in the tree's own material instances. Okay, so let's go and look at the trees themselves. Now this is a summer setup. This is the basic setup. We can go and see what kind of leaves we have. This is a maple. This is a Norway maple. And you can see the quality of the leaves. It's amazing. With maples I have also single leaves here. You can see every vein. The lighting has been improved also. The subsurface scattering is done better, and it's been fixed to conifer package also. The wind effect, I think it's just amazing. Like you can see in this package, every leaf, every branch, every twig, they are nicely connected to each others. Not like in many packages. These are very nicely connected. Leaves aren't floating somewhere, they are attached to the branches, and branches are attached to the bigger branches, and so on. And the whole tree is swinging, and the branches are swinging, and everything is connected nicely. This is amazing. Okay, you get the picture of the quality. And now we are using virtual shadow maps. And the new parameter, cache invalidation behavior, is set to auto. So it requires most performance from the machine. It's quite heavy, but like you can see, all these shadows in the leaves, they are perfect. But when you go inside these trees and or inside these leaves, where there are many leaves, it's very heavy. So the new parameter is something that we can tweak or change it to rigid or static to get more performance in the cost of shadows. A little bit reducing the quality of shadows, we can even get more performance. This performance is already good, but when you have very large areas of trees and a very dense forest, we just might need it. And I have used that setting. If I choose one tree and type shadow, this is the setting I'm talking about. Shadow cache invalidation behavior. It's set to auto now. But in that other level, the map I had, improved performance. Only thing I have done is I have chosen every tree mesh and set this to rigid. And then the shadows aren't that good in the leaves, but they are good enough, I think. And then this shadow here will be stable. I can show it now here so you get the picture. Rigid. Now, like you can see, everything looks still nice. And I think in big environments, this is the setting we should use. It's real great. And even when going through the greatest masses of leaves, the frames aren't stopping. But you can see a little bit flickering and something, maybe artifacts a little bit in the leaves, but it's still very good even when watched this close. But it's not perfect, but it's very good overall experience. And like I said, these are static now, these shadows. Okay, but let's check this package with the auto setting so you can see what this really looks like when the settings are full. Okay, I showed you the maples. Here are the leaves of red oak, northern red oak to be exact, and how the light goes through the leaves. It's impressive. And wind is amazing. And like in the tutorial, from the conifer tutorial, I have said that you can fade the wind away in the distance. And now in Unreal Engine you can, when you have painted foliage to your scene, you can disable world position offset in some distance. And if you want to kill the wind, for example, in 100 meters, set also that disable world position offset parameter, which means 10,000 because these values are in centimeters. Like you can see, the quality is amazing in everything. In trunks, these are, you can see the profile that these are nicely displaced using different trunks. And if we go under these trees, we can see that every tree has also roots. And the roots aren't the same. There are different amounts of roots and they're all different variations of roots. Roots, not fruits. Like you see, they're not the same either. Okay, this was the maples and red oaks. They have quite, even though this is oak, it kind of the leaf is more like maples. So they have quite much the same color tone also. Oak is a little bit different. It's more green, not this is more yellow. And here you can see the quality of oak leaves. And how the light goes through the leaves. And like you see, the amount of detail is quite insane. And you can see that the roots are different. There are branches growing from the trunk and stuff like that. And every tree is a different shape. There are more like forest trees, and then there are more like park trees that are growing sideways more. And you might get a picture that this is a little tree. This is almost 20 meters high also, so these aren't little. You should be watching it from here, and then you understand the size of these trees. These are every tree of they are quite big trees, starting from at least from 50 meters to 30 meters. The highest trees in here are 30 meters tall. This is about 30 meters, and this, so on. And also we have very thick trees, and you can see there are leaves, there are branches, there are dead branches, everything. Very much details. Roots, nice displacement, very old, very thick. The king of the park tree. Very, very nice. Okay, so this is what you get. A nice variety of, in Finland we call this noble trees. Oaks and maples are maybe the nicest trees you have in parks or in golf courses or wherever. These are old, nice trees. Of course, if you scale them to be smaller, it's quite convincing to use them as a smaller trees too, so no problem. So, what I wanted to show is the seasonal settings because that is the new thing and this is the new package. So now we have seen what this package includes, and that demo video you will see how these look when they are placed into the environment. I think it's just amazing. Don't just look that demo video. You will really understand what it is being in the forest where these where these trees grow because it's totally amazing. So I advise you mostly to use these master material instances to make changes to trees. If you want to make it centralized and everything's changing at the same time. So we want to open this master material instance leaves needles and go to the last setting, which is new, the season settings. And if I press this, use fall setup. So it took this long to get a fall setup. And not a bad fall setup at all. Every leaf, every almost every tree has different variations, and you can, of course, here you can reduce the amount. We are quite close to summer already. So like I have advertised, this is totally stepless. Now I think we are in the summer setting. If I take this off, it's quite the same. Put fall back again and then start increasing the fall effect. Little by little. What would be the best angle to watch it? Well, let's try this. It's getting more, getting more, getting more. Now the zero level, I think this is, I wouldn't go further than this. But if you watch the image of the fall forests, the internet, I don't know if they have booster colors, but they are maybe even more screaming colors than these. Of course, we can get that effect too if we want to. Just give it more power. But I wouldn't go much further than zero. I like minus 0.3, which is actually quite nice. And if you're just thinking, okay, I would like more brightness to the leaves. Just put more brightness to the leaves if you want to. This might work in some environments, but maybe when you are in the forest and you have many Many of these trees there, you start to realize that this setting close to 2 is maybe better. But it definitely, for different setups, it's maybe good to add brightness or decrease brightness. Maybe not that much, but you will very easily get what you want. You can add or reduce the amount of the fall color, or you can add or reduce that brightness of the color. My basic settings with this fall is 2 and minus 0.3, minus 0.5. Oh, minus 0.5. It's a little bit different, and like we see, the oak is a little bit different color, so this autumn changes it a little bit differently, but very convincing effect. It gets a little bit, bad condition leaf effect, which is real good because this is what autumn really does to many of the leaves. Okay, so from different angles, this is all running in 4K and still using the most expensive virtual shadow maps. And I can say that these wind effects, they really look great when these trees are placed to the Mavi broadleaf forest. Okay, that's about the fall effect. I'll just put them back to the level I want. Oh no. There's a tint color also if you want to tint it somewhere. I don't think I would use it because then you just they kind of start looking the same, but you have that option if you want. So, and those trees have their own fall textures, so this just shows the template here. Okay, we have a fall effect. I forgot to reduce the leaves. Let's put the fall effect to 0.3 and then also reduce amount of leaves. Okay, not a big change, but a change still. This is leaf reduction amount, and if we make this a little bit wider, we can see that there is 3 steps. Of course, the full amount of leaves is 1 step, then there is 3 reduction levels, and then I have winter setup where no leaves at all. So we have actually 5 steps. This is step 1, and I really recommend using this. Of course, we thought, oh, it's better to have all the leaves and the fall colors, but you don't get the real effect as nicely as when you use this. When you use this in an environment and you reduce the amount of leaves, the nature really starts to look like a fall nature, fall forest. And amount, the greatest amount of leaf reduction looks like this. These red oaks have most leaves, I think. But that's because the opacity masks are different and it's not possible to exactly reduce the same amount. But it's also good because not all the trees lose leaves the same way. But of course they can be adjusted. In the tree instances also. But now just by clicking a few times you can get very convincing effects. Okay, and after if we want to go forward, we use the winter setup. So no leaves at all. But still we see that wind is moving the branches and the trees. They are swaying in the wind. And we can really see that these trees are very performant considered how much details these have. These have many branches. These are quite huge trees with great amount of detail. When you see these without leaves, you understand that these have very much detail. And then when we see these leaves, we understand that these have incredible amount of detail also, very high quality leaves, and still this is running very smoothly in 4K. Okay, we have gone through the fall setup and amount of leaves, and the spring setup. Now, now this is using spring overlay color, and we get that fresh feeling of the spring. The nature is starting to wake up from the winter sleep. But this kind of looks like the end of the spring because it's blooming still, but everything is that we have all the leaves, and leaves are big. Of course, I don't have a leaf scaling here. I have, but I'm not using it because it doesn't work like I want it. But I have that option in the master material, but I don't recommend using it. It's mostly for scenarios where we don't have opacity mask and we need to thicken the leaves that are not disappearing when looking them from further away. But like you can see, these trees, they look and their shadows look just perfect, no matter how far we are. But about that spring effect, I told that it's good also to use this leaf reduction, and I think we get a better feeling of spring when we a little bit reduce the amount of leaves. So it starts like, oh, the summer is coming, but it's not still totally here. The color is the spring color, but the leaves aren't full yet, and the amount of leaves is not there yet. And if I reduce more, it's early spring now. So you get the point. So with totally stepless amount of fall or spring, and then we have a 5 different amounts of leaves: full, reduced amounts, and winter setup. And of course, these textures for fall and spring, you can make your own. Just look how I've done them, and you can replace them and make something own. Like leaf condition is maybe something we could add to this, but I think that fall colors already made that quite well. So I don't think it's needed, but You can use your own imagination and do what you want. So now we have gone through all these new season settings. Reduce amount of leaves, use fall setup, use spring setup, and the parameters that you have. You have color amount, you have brightness amount, you have color tint, and then you have the color texture for spring or autumn. And that's all. I hope you enjoyed and understood everything I was saying. I recommend watching the DropZone conifer tree tutorial. There is everything mentioned in that tutorial you need to know. This was only an update to the tutorial. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.